Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV patch 6.1 housing related items. We're trying to cover as much as possible from the patch. It's not just housing. Obviously we've covered a lot of more of the important stuff that people would want to watch, but I am going through the housing stuff because I normally do anyway. On the left side of the screen, you'll see the recipe for today's video, which is on the Carpenter specific level 90 craft of the classic dresser. This uses 8 integral lumber, 8 pewter ingots, 1 vanity mirror, and 8 wind and ice crystals with a recommended craftsmanship of 2805. No requirement, and certainly isn't a masterwork. So of course you can make this as soon as you hit level 90 Carpenter if you have the bits to make it. This item then specifically, I would say, is a little bit of a tease. I say that mostly because, as many people know, I'm definitely in the mood to one day see a glamour dresser in housing, which is something that a lot of people have requested. Unfortunately, that isn't the case because of many technical limitations of the game, at this point at least. And yeah, I still think this is a bit of a tease. So the classic dresser is a dyeable item. It says, a lavish vanity that harkens back to days long past. And if we drop this in, you'll see that this is essentially a very similar model. I don't know if it's the exact same model. It certainly looks a little bit like that to the actual glamour dresser, although it doesn't have the spell effects of, like, I don't know, the ghostly door opening from Dark Souls on it or something like that. But it is a nice dresser regardless, even if it is not directly the same. It is quite nice. If you're making like a big bedroom or a ballroom type house, you know, with a certain lavish sort of style, then this would work perfectly. I like the inlaid design against the wood there with the, I don't know what you call that, where they like cut grooves into the top of wood and change the color. I have no idea what that is. Just inlay. It's very cool. It is a nice item, and the back of it is actually more reflective, as you can see from the cheese over there. There's actually a reflection in the back of this mirror of the cheese counter as I'm turning this around. So it's actually more reflective as a surface on the back. There you go, you can see the lion there, look. The lion's face at the back of it, than the front. So the reflection mapping on the back is better because that's like a metal texture than this opaque white texture on the front. This is something they're probably going to have to look into in the future, is like using the reflection stuff that they've got, because the texture exists, and then applying it to different materials. Either that, or we would have been better off having that sort of material that is reflective there, where I can see the cheese in it, on the front. It doesn't make sense to me when you have reflection mapping to not have it on the bit that you would, you know, imagine would be an actual mirror. But regardless, suspension of disbelief, and I'm sure many people will, you know, overlook that anyway. But just doesn't make much sense to me. This item obviously doesn't have any interactions. It is just a dresser, like a glamour dresser, basically a vanity. It does look pretty good. It would go straight flush against a wall, but the mirror is obviously always going to be slightly out from the wall because of the way that the mirror is suspended on the back of this particular cupboard at the bottom. The way it dies then, that's the other thing we want to look at really specifically on this, is... Hold on. There we go. So, obviously, oh, that's not a very nice dye palette. Unfortunately. Very unfortunate. So, this is what it looks like normal. And then the bit that dies is... Okay, I don't understand that at all. So, the bit that dies is actually, like, the surface and the front drawer and the legs and the mirror frame sort of thing on the side, but not the other part of it. Is that a bug? Is that supposed to be the only bit that doesn't... I mean, that looks awful. I personally think that that bit should die as well. Is that an art decision that I'm not aware of? I don't like that. The inability to dye those bits already means that I'll probably not use this myself. For example, if you had a room that was, I don't know, let's say you had a specific grain of wood that you used throughout, like chestnut, on other pieces of furniture. You try and dye this chestnut brown, and then you end up with like burgundy red permanently on it. I mean, if you walk around this as well, that's just, I don't like that at all. Not at all. It doesn't add anything to the item, I don't think. I mean, you might disagree. This is my opinion, obviously, but yeah, I don't think the dive palette's working properly. Or at least this is an example of why we need more than one option of dive palette. Because this is just... I mean, say for instance I had like a bright yellow room and I wanted a yellow dresser. Well, this red's going to get in the... I have no idea. That's a downside that I didn't expect. So I think this is something you'd probably never dye. Yeah, for like people want like a dark green kind of wood or something. I don't know. Am I the only one who thinks that's a bit strange? You know, it would look beautiful in this like Celeste green, for example. But then you've got the weird burgundy red stuff going on. Not a fan of that. So yeah, the dye options, not ideal in the slightest, unfortunately. But then again, even undyed, it looks a bit strange, doesn't it? I only just realised it's a different colour. Weird. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this item personally, mostly because, well, the dye options now, but also the fact that that it's reflective on the back of it. It's a nice item, but it's not my cup of tea. I think that's what we'll go with. Yeah, it just seems a bit of a tease. Can we have real glamour dresses as furnishing items as well in the future? I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think about this particular item. Yeah, it's a shame about the dye palette, but it's a nice design. And undyed, I can see this probably working. But I'd have to probably dye everything else, either the burgundy red or the same coloured brown, to match this. So there we go. Anyway, much love. More videos coming from patch 6.1 onwards. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.